Meanwhile, Glenn Beck wants us to be scared to death. Now, I said earlier I was grateful about Agenda 21. Agenda 21 is something that originated, when the UN gets together for these meetings, they will have what are called agendas, agenda items. And if you've ever been to a conference, usually they're called breakout sessions, Here's the breakout session on this topic or the UN being rather bureaucratic, they number things. And this was the 21st breakout session or item or whatever, agenda item. At I think it was one of the earlier UN meetings back under George Herbert Walker Bush, and then it got, redone, re-ratified, re-amplified during the Rio summit, which I believe was a year or two ago. And I'm looking at UN.org at the Agenda 21 homepage. It's the UN Economic and Social Development Division for Sustainable Development. And Agenda 21, according to this, is about, literally, I'm reading from their webpage about combating poverty. Uh-oh. That right off the bat, every billionaire in America is going, what? You mean tax me more? Combating poverty, changing consumption patterns. What? You want to tax carbon? Demographic dynamics and sustainability. Sustainability? Oh, it's those hippie city planners. Protecting and promoting human health conditions. Liberals who want you to feel good. They want you to be healthy. That's terrible. Promoting sustainable human settlement development. In other words, creating cities that actually work where, things like what's called mixed use development where you can walk to the dry cleaners and to the clothing store and to the food store, and you don't need to buy a car. You don't need to even own a car. I live in a city like that here in Washington, D.C., where Louise and I live, down in the marina. Within 3 blocks, we can walk to a Safeway, we can walk to a pharmacy, we can walk to the cleaners, we can hop on the subway, and we can go to any store virtually in the city, any restaurant. That's a sustainable human development. I haven't owned a car in 2 years. It's the first time since I was 16 years old I haven't owned a car. Now, granted, the first 7 or 8 years that I owned cars, I was very proud of the fact that I never paid more than $35 for one of them, and I never failed to sell them for less than $50. And very often things like the brakes didn't work. Louise, when we were early on dating, I had this old Nash Rambler that you'd have to pump the brakes 5 or 6 times before the master cylinder would get enough pressure to actually slow the car down. So I used the hand brake to slow down. And the radiator was constantly leaking, so I always had about a dozen gallon milk jugs in the back filled with water to run around and pour in the radiator. But it worked. It got us through. Got us through our courting and into our early marriage years. Agenda 21, promoting sustainable human settlement development and integrating environment and development decision-making, like they do in Portland, where they've got greenways and green belts. Glenn Beck has decided that Agenda 21, that this thing is the new way that the UN is going to destroy your life. Or at least he's written a novel. Or he bought a novel from another writer or whatever. I don't know. There's all kinds of buzz about that. But in any case, there's this new novel out. And the trailers for it, yes, he's made trailers for it. They actually show an old guy being strapped to a gurney and fed into an open fire. Yeah, you lived a good life. Now it's time to go. Well, there's nothing about that in Agenda 21. But Sarah Palin's death panels live on in Glenn Beck's fevered mind. I just find the whole thing astounding. It's like when all you have to sell is fear, which is all the right wing has to sell. Fear of brown people wasn't enough. Fear of gay people wasn't enough. Now they're back to the old reliable fear of the UN. Somebody needs to call up the right wing and tell them if they want to be afraid of somebody, they should be afraid of the World Trade Organization.